Okay, so what if I told you the secret to a really thriving business isn't about working harder, but thinking smarter? Today, we're going to dive into this really compelling idea from author Shenard Byrd that completely flips hustle culture on its head. The whole argument is that true, lasting success isn't built on just grinding it out, but on something much deeper, a foundation of wisdom.
So, let's kick things off with a story that's probably going to feel, well, painfully familiar, especially if you've ever run your own business. You know the one I'm talking about. It's that classic tale of putting in all the work, hitting all your targets, and then at the end of it all, you're just left scratching your head wondering, where on earth did the money go?
And here's what's so great about the author, Shenard Byrd. He doesn't come at you like some untouchable expert, you know? He makes it really clear he's a practitioner. He's someone who's actually in the trenches, doing the work, just like the folks he's writing for. So what he's sharing? Well, these aren't just theories from a textbook. These are lessons he learned the hard way.
So, get this. He tells this story about his business having its best quarter ever. I mean, by every single metric you can think of: revenue, happy customers, a totally packed calendar. They were just absolutely crushing it. They brought in a massive $287,000.
Now, a number like that makes you feel like you finally made it, right? You're thinking, yes, all that hard work, all those late nights, it's finally paying off. But then he looked at the bank statement, and the reality was, well, it was a complete and total shock.
So after all that activity, all that hustle, what was left was just $3,200 in cash. And this is the crucial takeaway, the thing you have to get. Revenue isn't profit, and being busy, activity, that isn't progress. You can be generating income every single day and still literally go broke if you don't actually understand where your cash is going. You know, an experience like that, seeing a huge revenue number just shrink to almost nothing, that's a real wake-up call. And for Byrd, it led him to a completely different approach. He realized the real competitive advantage, it's not about grinding harder. It's about thinking with more clarity and, you guessed it, more wisdom.
And this just frames the core conflict perfectly. On one side, you've got the whole hustle culture mantra that's always screaming, scale fast, chase revenue at all costs. But then on the other side, you have this idea of discernment. And that's all about sustainable growth and building profit that actually has some real purpose behind it.
So what is business discernment exactly? Well, think of it as the wisdom to make decisions that line up your profit with your purpose. But it's not just about creating sustainable success, which is great on its own. It's also about achieving peace of mind along the way, making sure your business actually reflects who you are and what you believe in.
Okay, so theory's one thing, right? But let's look at a real-world example of what this discernment thing looks like in action. Byrd applies this kind of thinking to pretty much everything. Systems, people, you name it. But there's this one case study on risk, and that's where the rubber really meets the road.
So check this out. Byrd's garage coating business faced this huge obstacle. Customers were convinced that the coatings just couldn't be applied in cold weather. And what did that mean? It meant the entire industry just shut down for 4 months, every single winter. We're talking 4 months of absolutely zero revenue. The real fear customers had wasn't about the price, it was about the whole thing failing.
Now, most people would just start cutting prices to try and lure people in, right? But Byrd didn't do that. Instead, he applied this key principle from marketing consultant Jay Abraham, and it's so simple but so powerful. The party best able to assume the risk should be the one to assume it. He realized, wait a minute, my business, with all our expertise and our pro-grade materials, we're in a much better position to handle this risk than our customers are.
And that's how we came up with the winter guarantee. Now, listen to this, because this is the key. He did not offer a discount. He didn't cheapen his brand at all. Instead, what he offered was a powerful promise that completely flipped the risk on its head and addressed the customer's actual fear head-on.
And the result? Honestly, it's staggering. While all of his competitors were shut down, making nothing, for 4 whole months, Byrd's company brought in nearly $500,000 in winter revenue. And this wasn't some magic trick. This was all achieved by using wisdom to solve the real problem, which was the customer's fear, not the price tag.
But look, this whole approach, it's not just about one clever marketing tactic. It goes so much deeper than that. It's about building a business that actually means something, a business that leaves a lasting impact that goes way beyond the balance sheet.
Byrd talks about how every entrepreneur builds 2 legacies, whether they realize it or not. First, there's the business legacy. That's the stuff you can see,
The jobs, the systems, the wealth. But then there's the being legacy. That's the invisible part, and it's all about the lives you touch, the people you help grow.
You know, his father was a pastor, and he taught him something profound. The true measure of your success isn't just the money you make, it's the difference you make. It's the wisdom you pass on, the culture you create, the people you develop. It's about building something that truly, truly outlasts you.
So, the big question is, how can you start applying this amazing idea to your own work, right now? How do you take that very first step away from the chaos of hustle and into the clarity of discernment?
Well, the first step is actually pretty simple, but it's profound. Stop asking your customers what they liked about your product or service. Instead, ask them about their hesitation. Ask them this one question: what almost stopped you from buying from us? I promise you, their answer is going to reveal the hidden fear, the real risk that your business needs to address with wisdom, not just a lower price. And that is your first step to gaining the discernment advantage.